Hey, it's your girl Gabby Delisme, and you are live in the lab. This evening, we've got Dr. Carey Yazeed with us. She is the Beyonce of professional development. She's the host of Beauty, Brains, and Business, the podcast, as well as the conference. She's an author, professor, and speaker. So tune in. Live in the lab today, we have Dr. Carey Yazeed with us, and she is the author of multiple books. And the book that I have, I don't know if the glare is too much, the book of hers that I have read is called Lipstick, Heels, and Hustle. And ladies, I know that we are about our hustle as we wear our lipstick and our heels. So welcome to the lab.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And so, how would you describe yourself and your businesses, Dr. Yazeed?
Mm. I think it's safe to say that I'm probably a serial entrepreneur. I have owned several businesses over the last 25 years, and some of them have been while I have been employed full time. So there's been a combination of me being a full-time entrepreneur, but also me like doing stuff as a hustle, a side hustle, and still checking in at a 9 to 5. So I've had a combination of both. Outgoing. So I'm all about my grind, making it happen, persistent, and dedicated.
Yeah. Oh, I love those. And you really are like persistent, consistent, and dedicated. So I know you've got books that you've authored, you've got your podcast, the stuff that you do on Instagram. What else are you doing, and all while building the brand of Dr. Yazeed?
So I also do speaking. So I do speaking engagements. I have a membership program for females who might not need as much help from me, but it gives you like a community of women who are building businesses as well. So they get that opportunity to interact with each other, but they also like have like 24-hour access to me. So they love that as well. And on top of that, I've decided to do a conference. So I was thinking, is it June yet? So in June 20th and 21st in New Orleans, I'm hosting my first business conference, and it's really geared towards female entrepreneurs. So if you are just starting out as an entrepreneur, or if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, but you're stuck, those are the two areas that I see females having the biggest problems. Like I have a great idea, I don't know where to start, or I've been doing this for a while, but now it's stagnant. Like, I'm not seeing an increase, I'm not seeing growth. And so the conference, I'm bringing in a variety of workshop presenters that are going to bring women through that whole process. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes, and you do have like really a full lineup of women, like boss ladies who are about their hustle, about their grind, and getting it done.
Yes, they all are, all of them are CEOs of their own businesses, and their businesses are at different stages, but and they are women that I've pretty much, most of them I met on social media through LinkedIn, and we've developed relationships over a time period. And just from working with them, I felt like if I had to have something, these would be the women that I would bring to the table, because each of them offers something unique. So none of them are going to be giving you the same thing. You're not going to walk away and say, well, I didn't learn anything. Like, we already know coming in, they know how I am. So they're coming to like pour into people, help you to get where you need to be in 2 days. And you don't have that happen a lot. So we're not trying to motivate you, because that's what most of the conferences are, where it's just like, we're going to motivate you, we're going to empower you, but you leave and you're still sitting there like, I still don't know what to do. I feel great, but I still don't know what to do. This is not that type of conference. You're going to leave and you might be frustrated. You might have a homework list, but you're going to walk away and say, okay, now I have meat and potatoes. I know what I need to go back and do in my own business.
Yes.
And that is so important, to have like actionable takeaways that folks can truly implement once they get back to their respective cities, because the conference is in Louisiana, right?
Right, it's in New Orleans this year. So I always tell people, if you're looking for a tax write-off and you want to have a great time, you've never been to New Orleans, this is the perfect excuse.
Yes. The Big Easy?
The Big Easy,
Yeah.
the city that never sleeps.
And you mentioned something about relationships. So I love going to conferences. I get the motivational piece. I get the tangible steps that I need to implement, but then I'm also able to connect with people. So
Yes.
How important have relationships been while building your businesses?
You can't do it without having relationships. You have to get out there and meet people. And it also goes back to surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Yes.
So when you go to conferences, you go to seminars and workshops, this allows you to put yourself in a different environment, because as we have to remember, regardless to what it is you're doing, professional, entrepreneur, everyone doesn't understand what it is that you're doing. And sometimes we have to actually place ourselves in rooms with people who get us, because they're going through what it is that we're going through. Exchange business cards, exchange emails. I have developed lifelong relationships from attending conferences, either as a speaker or as somebody sitting in the audience taking notes. So it's, you got to make it work for you. And what I'm finding in the age of technology is that we all want to sit behind a computer, but we don't want to get out and interact with people.
Right.
And you need that at some point in your business.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And with that interaction with folks, I think technology has made it easier for us to reach out to people, to open the door for a connection. For example, like ours, I had been listening to your podcast, and I said, I'm going to send her an email, and look at this. So yes, seize opportunities as they present themselves for you, but you have to be prepared, right?
Yes.
So how do we prepare ourselves? Because a lot of times maybe we're not used to being able to get a seat at the table, so we want to build our own table. How do we prepare ourselves for the different shifts that we will take in our lives?
The first thing is that you have to have it's a mindset thing. You got to have an open mind. You have to be flexible. And what I've seen is that women who get stuck in different parts of their life, so again, this is not just talking about business, we just talking about life in general, is because they are not flexible and they are unwilling to transition or bend or try something new. Like, you've got to have an open mind, especially if you're trying to grow. And so mindset work, I always tell people this, mindset work is not usually when you need to go work with a coach. If you find yourself in that situation, I highly advise you go see a therapist, because there's something holding you down internally that you have not processed, that you might not be aware of. And what I found is in the African American community, we don't like to talk about therapy. Okay, that's taboo. You might be crazy. Go get your whole life together. I done sat on some sofas and walked away and was just like, okay, this makes sense now. Now I know. And so you have a whole new perspective because they help you to look at it that way. So my thing is, when we talk about being prepared, it's some internal stuff that we have to do as women to get to the space that we need to be. And sometimes it's stuff that we've never dealt with that we need to unpack before we go any further in our lives or our careers.
I so agree. And December, I actually sought the help of a mental health specialist, and my therapist is amazing. So, folks will sometimes say, you got to pray about it, pray about it. You do. And I heard someone say prayer is your weapon and therapy is your strategy. So you go into war, you need to have both.
You need to have both. I mean, you got to be prayed up, but and so I totally say yes, do that. But you have to realize when God is telling you it's time for you to, okay, you need some extra help because you're not listening to me. So let's bring in the backup, and the backup can be a therapist, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think if more people went to therapy, the world might be a better place.
I agree. And so how do we tune in to find or tap in to find out how or whether or not it's time for us to pivot, or whether or not we need to just dive deeper in? What is that thing for you that helps to clarify that?
For me, I have goals. And so my goals are broken down with a strategy plan. So each month I have a strategy of what it is that I'm going to do to accomplish one goal. So I'm breaking it down one at a time. I'm keeping it simple. I have action steps of what it is that I need to do. I have a deadline of when it needs to be done. And then I reward myself when I do what I set out to do. But this keeps you focused because it's also a visual. I'm also kinetic, so when I write stuff down, it helps me to really understand and process it better. So, having my strategy plan that I go back and I review at least once a week. Where am I? Am I on target? What else is it that I need to do? Oh man, I forgot I needed to do that. Let me go and catch up on this real quick. And you will find yourself, you can see the growth and you see the progress. A lot of times people keep it all up here, and then it's all confusing, and then you're just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Girl, I forgot about that. Like you're all over the place, and you'll find that your business is all over the place too.
Yes. So important to stay organized and really focused, and like the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. So taking it out of our head and putting it down on paper, like my questions for you. Yes, on paper.
Exactly.
Yep. So in terms of your book, so Lipstick, Heels, and Hustle, I know one of the parts I think it's maybe chapter 8 or 9 or so, you talk about money and how you were in your previous marriage, money was used to control you. And as women, we are set to control 2/3 of the country's wealth by 2020. But studies show that we would prefer to talk about death instead of money. And yes. And so my background is in finance. I have a financial education company. And in your book, you said you had to move from making money to saving money to growing money.
Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in. I am hopeful that you got as much out of the conversation with Dr. Carey Yazeed as I did. Follow her on social media. She can be found at Dr. Carey Yazeed. That's DrCareyYazeed. Tune in next week because this was just part 1 of our conversation. So next week we will be picking up with the conversation of moving from making money to saving money to growing money. And thanks so much for joining. Have an amazing week.